Lesson 9 for February 22 to 28, From Contamination to Purification, read by Dr. Percy Harrold. Sunday, February 23, The Ram and the Goat. Question. Read Daniel chapter 8. What is this vision all about, and how does it parallel what we have seen in Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7? Daniel chapter 8, beginning at verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, Daniel, after the one that appeared to me the first time. I saw in the vision, and it so happened while I was looking, that I was in Shushan, the citadel, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in the vision that I was by the river Ulai. Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and there, standing beside the river, was a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw a ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will, and became great. And, as I was considering, suddenly a male goat came from the west across the surface of the whole earth, without touching the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Then he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him with furious power. And I saw him confronting the ram. He was moved with rage against him, attacked the ram, and broke his 2 horns. There was no power in the ram to withstand him, but he cast him down to the ground and trampled him, and there was no one that could deliver the ram from his hand. Therefore the male goat grew very great, but when he became strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it 4 notable ones came up toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came a little horn which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the glorious land. And it grew up to the host of heaven, and it cast some of the host and some of the stars to the ground, and trampled them. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast truth down to the ground. He did all this, and prospered. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to that certain one who was speaking, How long will the vision be concerning the daily sacrifices, and the transgression of desolation, the giving of both the sanctuary and the host to be trampled under foot? And he said to me, For 2,300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. Then it happened, when I, Daniel, had seen the vision and was seeking the meaning, that suddenly there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, who called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came I was afraid and fell on my face. But he said to me, Understand, Son of Man, that the vision refers to the time of the end. Now, as he was speaking to me, I was in a deep sleep with my face to the ground. But he touched me and stood me upright, and he said, Look, I am making known to you what shall happen in the latter time of the indignation. For at the appointed time the end shall be. The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia, and the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. As for the broken horn and the 4 that stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall arise out of that nation, but not with its power. And in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy fearfully, and shall prosper and thrive. He shall destroy the mighty and also the holy people. Through his cunning he shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule, and he shall exalt himself in his heart. He shall destroy many in their prosperity. He shall even rise against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without human means. and the vision of the evenings and mornings which were told is true. Therefore, seal up the vision, for it refers to many days in the future. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick for days. Afterward I arose and went about the king's business. I was astonished by the vision, but no one understood it. As in Daniel 2 and 7, we are given here another vision of the rise and fall of world empires, though with a different kind of symbolism. This symbolism is directly related to God's sanctuary. In this case, the symbols of a ram and a goat are used because of their connection with the Day of Atonement sanctuary ritual, a time of judgment for ancient Israel. Rams and goats were used as sacrificial offerings in the sanctuary service, but only on the Day of Atonement are the two mentioned together. Hence, these two animals are intentionally chosen here to evoke the Day of Atonement, which is a major focus of the vision. As the vision unfolds, Daniel sees a ram pushing in 3 different directions, westward, northward, and southward, in Daniel chapter 8, verse 4. Let's read that. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him. This triple movement indicates the expansion of this power, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will, and became great. That's the second half of Daniel chapter 8, verse 4. As the angel explains, the ram with 2 horns represents the Medo-Persian Empire in verse 20. Let's just read that. The ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia. And the 3 directions most likely literally pointed to the 3 major conquests of this world power. Next, a goat emerges with a big horn, which represents the Greek Empire under the command of Alexander the Great, verse 21. And the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. That the goat moves without touching the ground, as it says in verse 5, signifies that it is moving quickly. This symbolism conveys the rapidity of Alexander's conquest, which Daniel 7 presents as a winged leopard. But, as the prophecy indicates, when the goat became strong, the large horn is broken in verse 8, and gives way to 4 horns, which extend to the 4 quadrants of the compass. This is fulfilled when Alexander dies in Babylon in June 323 BC, and his kingdom is divided among his 4 generals. So to finish the day, between Daniel 2:38 and Daniel 8:20 and 21, 3 of the 4 empires revealed in the visions have been named for us. How should this amazing fact help confirm the correctness of our interpretation of these prophecies? Daniel 2 verse 38 reads, And wherever the children of men dwell, or the beasts of the field and the birds of the heaven, he has given them into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. That's Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. And then Daniel 8:20 and 21, the ram which you saw having the 2 horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia, and the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind and Hearing Impaired, Christian Record Services for the Blind, the Sabbath School Department, and Hope Channel. You can also listen on the official Sabbath School 4 app and the Apple iTunes app, Sabbath School with Percy Harrold. Remember, God is always faithful.